Yeah, my name's Pete Silliphant. I just wanted to talk a little bit this morning about this idea about this non-dual idea that the self doesn't exist. And I just wanted to say a few things around that to me clarify the question or the problem or what that means. I don't think anybody would disagree that there is existence, or that I exist. I guess the question is what that sense of existence, that observer attaches itself to and identifies itself to, and I think that's the part that's open to interpretation or reinterpretation. So, yeah, I said in one of the earlier videos I was talking about science and how science really does intimately concern minds, and that's self-evidently true. At least the process of science, the scientific process, is all about creating agreement between minds. And we have this physical reality between our minds, and right now I've got thoughts in my mind that feel helpful, that I'd like to communicate, and the only way I have to do that is through physical reality. So right now there's these thoughts in my mind that are coming seemingly from nowhere. I'm transmitting them into physical reality, and they're being received via the physical tool of your body, and being transmitted into your mind, into your observer consciousness. And these things called words, like the word apple, it is designed, it's a word that, or words, when they're spoken, the purpose they play is to induce a common experience, simultaneous experience in the mind of the one speaking the word and the one hearing the word. And scientific thought uses the same process. So uses language, uses mathematical language, uses the language of physics to create a common experience among minds. And so basically what's happening is a collection of minds, or a community of minds, is looking at the same physical, whatever it is, something to do with physical reality, and agreeing on the rules, agreeing on the way it's being looked at, And and when that happens, when that's done, then quite often what happens is all the minds see the same thing. And so there's this compulsion, like the minds are compelled basically to accept, or the minds have a sense of certainty around the ideas, a sense of non-conflicted certainty, and that certainty via scientific method, via examining that physical reality that joins us, that's in between us, that we actually share, by examining that, we can induce certainty in each other's minds. And we can't really call that certainty truth, but we can say that it's a genuinely useful idea. We can all agree on that for this time and this place and this circumstance, but that it's always subject to revision. And the point that I want to make about the existence of the self is that if we examine that physical reality that's between us, between the observer experiences, there's no evidence there for the existence of this thing called separation. And I'll talk about that later in some later videos, looking at physical reality and pointing out the ways in which the separation, which on the face of it seems self-evident, actually isn't really self-evident at all. But basically what that says then, if there's no evidence for this existence of this thing called separation within physical reality, then there's really no scientific basis for this thing called separation either. And that's a really kind of weird thing, because in our experience we feel very, very separate, and separation seems self-evident, at least in my experience. But in my experience it seems self-evident that the world is flat too, and it's only by looking to science to tell us that it's actually round that we can know that. So yeah, I guess that's what I wanted to say. There's no scientific basis for to justify. I guess what I'm trying to say is that there is a disconnect between the separation that our experience tells us is real and the nature of connection and relatedness of reality that examining physical reality tells us is real. And so clearly it's not a question that can be answered by science. well, I mean, I can't say that. I won't say that, but that's what seems true to me at the moment. So that the only place where it can really be established whether this thing called separation exists or not is, or the separation that our experience tells us is real, the only place where that can be fully established is within experience, by examining our experience. Thank you.